Welcome back to the YouTube playlist that's more powerful than it could possibly comprehend because you're learning ancient Egyptian hieroglyphs and you're doing it from the comfort of your house and it's fun. Aren't we all enjoying ourselves? Have you been doodling with purpose and starting to really feel like you're getting at least a bit of a mini mastery over it? Because at this point you should be pretty comfortable. But no matter where you are in the learning process, we're going to go together because it's a long process. Even the Egyptians took 9 years before a scribe was allowed to go forward. All right, so I want to talk about this little scribble for a moment. You might think it's the number 3, but it's not. So we've been talking a lot about the sounds that different glyphs make and how some of the sounds don't correlate exactly with English sounds. So here are two different A's, right? We have the vulture and we have the open arm, which is the ah in father and then the ah in palm. They do sound very similar in English. In Egyptian, not so much. Now, in addition to the little commas that are placed above the A, there's other ways of writing the A, which I want to introduce, which is the 3 and then the reverse comma. So what looks like a 3, this is that first A, the father A, the vulture. So I've added it here to our master list there. You can see I've replaced the father A. So that can also be written what looks like a 3. It's basically sort of a loop and then a 3 with a longer tail. All right, so with that introduced, let's move on to H. And we're going to spend some time on H with the bilateral signs because there's 4 different H's in hieroglyphs. And again, they're not always easy to work into English because English doesn't have the same sounds as hieroglyphics. So we have an H for hello, an H for his, bach, and hue, based on whether there's a dot, a little frowny face, or a dash. These are all sound signs to tell you how to pronounce the H universally. So let's look at our first bilateral sign in the H family. So this is a clump of papyrus. Pretty easy to draw. It's like a little crown with 3 flowers growing out of it. So here we have 2 different sound signs. We have H with the dot, and then we have the A with the comma, or as I prefer, the little 3 sign. So pronouncing this, here we have ha, followed by another ah, followed by a human face. And what happens when there is a human face or a part of a human or animal at the end of a word? Well, what is it? It's a determinative, which is just your hint to jog your memory about what this is. So, if we're going to pronounce this, here we have some repeat echo sounds. So we have the ha, the hiss and the ah sound, followed by that human head. So this means behind, behind. And what are we behind? Well, I've drawn in the glyph for per, which is house when it has the dash under it, the stroke line. So this would be behind the house. Noting again, there's no articles in hieroglyphics, no a's, the, etc., or ands. Now we can slightly modify this, and now I've incorporated the per as a determinative instead of adding it. So here we have ha-at or hat, because the middle A, the vulture, can be an echo sound, so that doesn't have to be pronounced. It's just there to jog your memory and part of the elastic nature of hieroglyphics. So here we have ha'at, followed by the determinative for a place. Well, if we're used by itself, it's a house, but a place, so it makes it a tomb. Our next bilateral H sound, H with the dot and then D with a dash, means this is going to be pronounced like the H in his, and the D will be that J sound, the J, like bijou, or, trying to think of another, not that many English words that have the J with the D. All right, now you may recognize this determinative. It can be pronounced nub, N-B. It's the necklace. But at the end of a word, it's going to be a determinative, and it's going to be a necklace. So here you have a silver necklace, or really just the word silver. So the necklace next to the hood, which is a pear-shaped club. Now there is another hum. So here we have, I'm sorry, we have not another, our first hum, which you may know from the beginning of the class can be the word wife, humt. So HM with the T, that's a jar with water is what you're looking at, and then the T, and then of course again, a person at the end, always a determinative. Not my best drawing of a female sitting. Now if we're going to change that female slightly and give her a flower, and then change the word slightly, putting in the royal word. So you may recognize the shoot, the papyrus shoot, as the SW sound. That is done in king, niswa. So adding that to wife upgrades the wife from just a mere wife to now a queen. But every wife is a queen, right? So you might want to use this one anytime you're writing a letter to your wife. And the determinative just changes from a standard woman to a woman holding a flower. There is a second HM sound. The H is hiss, his, hm. Now this glyph by itself is actually a word. It means person, just a general person. And you'll see this quite often. So this is a bat is what you're looking at, like a baseball bat or a club. So again, there's two different glyphs that have the same exact sound. The H with the dot and then the M. Why two? Well, again, hieroglyphs had to be elastic. You might need a longer or shorter one. So here we have the HM, person, with ka, the hands in the air, and then a glyph of a determinative of a man. So we know we're describing a person or their occupation. So ka. You could actually probably put this together because you know ka means spirit or energy from the first half of the class, and means person. So therefore, this means ka priest or ka person, meaning a person in charge of the worship of spiritual energy. So when it's paired with that. All right, here is some interesting homework. This, speaking of wives and queens, is my wife's name. So my wife's name is Barbara. So using lots of the different rules that we've learned, what a female names end with, how do you use, as well as how does graphical or honorific transposition work. So a lot of things are incorporated here. See if you can do the full translation and figure out how this cartouche becomes my wife's name. All right, hope you're working on your name too as a cartouche. It's fun. Let me know if you have any questions. We'll keep going. We're going to rock through the bilaterals and then keep swinging through structure and keep adding to our vocabulary so we can not just doodle with purpose, but hey, maybe even converse with some ancient Egyptians that live in our nearest museum. I don't know if you want to do that, but I don't know. Make some friends with mummies. Why not? Hey, we just had Mummies Day. All right, thanks for being in the class, and I'll see you guys next week.